Hello, everybody. Welcome back to HTM4305 Back of the House workshop. Today, as you can see, I wanted to try something different. Instead of going over PowerPoint slide one after another, I just wanted to make you guys a simple video going over some of the key points and highlights from the PPT. Okay, so today's topics, we're going to talk about menu planning. So overall, I want to talk about, so what is a menu and what is it used for? Okay, and what are some of the major components that should be on the menu? And I will also talk about the menu influencers. What kind of things do you have to consider when you are planning your menu? What is a menu? So menu for a restaurant is a presentation of food and beverage options so that the customers can choose what they want, right? So that's the one main purpose of a menu. Without a menu, they don't know what they want or they don't know what's available. Okay, but there are actually two other purposes of a menu that's quite important. One is the cost control tool, and then another one is for marketing tool. So menu can be used to control your cost at a restaurant, and also it can be used for marketing. Okay, so for cost control and marketing, we're going to talk about that on another video. Menu components. So what kind of information should be on the menu? Okay, so the name of the dish would probably be quite important, okay, so that the customers can tell you what they want, right? And also the description of that item. Without the proper description, customers may not know if they actually want that dish or not. And in terms of the description, it is always good to use a descriptive wording. Okay, so it's a description sometimes to describe the taste or texture or even smell, right? Or the way that it looks. Okay, but the description can also be a simple list of ingredients or how do you cook it. Okay, the price on the menu, most of the times you'll see them, but sometimes you may not see the price if they are using a market price or ladies menu. Okay, so for the market price, things like tuna or lobster, those are high cost items for the restaurant, and those prices actually change all the time. So in that case, for the restaurant, they'll actually set market price on the menu so that if the price of that ingredient goes up, then they can also raise the price on the menu. Okay, I'm not going to really talk about the ladies menu since you won't really see that often, but all it is that it's actually a menu that doesn't have the price. Okay, we may talk about that later, or if you have any question, you can just send me a message. Okay, and other information that should be on the menu could be the name of the restaurant or operation hours. Okay, and quite often it is very important for you to have the allergy warnings on your menu. There are many people who cannot eat certain food items, and for the restaurants, if you do use high risk allergen food, okay, you should warn your guest. Menu influencers, so the things that you need to think about when you're planning for your menu. Okay, we have quite a few of them. So demographics or clientele, okay, so what kind of guests are you serving? Okay, the trends, the restaurant type, Okay, so those are pretty obvious things, right? But the equipment, you still do need to think about what kind of equipment you have in your operation, so that actually limits what you can make in the kitchen, right? So when you are starting to think about your project also, you should know what kind of equipment's available in the bistro. And the same goes to the labor and personnel. You could make a really fancy menu, a 20-course tasting menu, but if you do not have the skill, or if your employees do not have the skill to pull that off, then the menu would be useless. Okay? And some other things like seasonality, cost, meal period. Okay, so all of those things would definitely affect how you want to plan your menu, right? So people want different things at a different time of the year. Now, here in Hong Kong, we don't really have that many seasons, but still, there are certain food items that's eaten or consumed, maybe during summer instead of winter time. Okay, and the cost is quite important, because if you cannot afford the ingredients on the menu or on your recipe, then you cannot serve them. And another important one that you need to think about would be the location. Okay, the location, I would say, is the number 2 consideration when it comes to menu influencers. The first one would be the guests or the customers, but the second one, I would say, the location, because the location actually determines many of the other things, right? So what kind of ingredients are available, how much are you paying for them, and also the location would determine what kind of guests you would have in that area, right? Okay, and overall, the main thing to remember at the golden rule of menu planning is always think like a guest. Okay, if you cannot think like a guest, then your planning would fall flat. Okay, so this was the introduction video to menu planning, and I hope you guys learned something new, or maybe it was a review. Thank you for joining, and I hope to see you guys next time.